That is out of 1981, a song called Lady What's Your Name, and that's a bloke called John Swan, better known in the music industry these days, Rob, as Swanee.
Yeah, and I can already tell because I had the privilege of pinching a couple of minutes of his time before the audience do. I suggest he's a ripper fella and a delight to have him on the show. Swanee, good morning.
Good morning, lads. How are you?
We're good.
This is a bit of fun. John, this is Neil, the other voice. We've been chatting via text during the week. Thanks for joining us on the Two Blokes Chatting radio show.
It's my pleasure.
Now, we've got a bit to talk about. We always like to start off with a really hard-hitting question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Where did this all start?
Oh, God. I was 14 with Lynn Mandel. She had a hit with a song called Child Baby.
Yes.
Yes.
And I left home in Adelaide and went to Melbourne. We actually all went in a Zephyr station wagon. One guy had a license. I was only 14, so there was nowhere in the world I could drive it. And we followed Zoot to Melbourne so we could find out where it was.
And you're still wearing pink suits to this day, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah. Tartan. Actually, you know, it's funny, I just did a recording with Rick Springfield. He's in Los Angeles at the moment, so he's doing big things with TV stuff and that, you know, but he's a great player, wonderful player.
Yeah, because he was part of Zoot, then he did a bit of solo work, then went to America and did a bit more solo work.
One of the best pop songs in Australia, I think, was Jessie's Girl, you know, like, because there was an era there when, you know, Australian music was, I think, was at its peak, you know, when it was quite a big era too. I say an era, it was quite a large percentage of time where there was lots of good hits coming out of Australia. You know, that we were sort of finding our feet and telling people at radio we were as good as the Yanks or as good as anybody else because they wouldn't play our stuff, they'd only play the American stuff. And as you know, a lot of the early Australian pioneers, you know, Cole Joy and all those guys, had to get the songs from overseas, re-record them here, and they would have a hit with it. So Australia got the Cole Joys and that version of, you know, a Little Richard song or a Buddy Holly or whoever it was, you know. And I think that's intriguing in our industry, sort of fairly unique like that, you know.
And, of course, around 1970, that's where Ron Tudor made his fortune, wasn't he, going over to the UK during that radio ban in 1970 and bringing back a whole lot of songs, which brought a whole stack more people in, the Liv Masons and the Mixtures and bands like that.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, like, I think that, because most of my mates went, like, I was in fraternity with Bon and those guys, and when they went to London, it was, I said up with AC/DC, you know, humbly, that they all went there on the bones of their ass and they were prepared to work their guts out and live in one room. And, you know, there's no flash life over there. You have to work like 7 nights a week and travel. It's not as far as like traveling in Australia. We did it here 7 nights a week, and you would go from Adelaide, Warrnambool, or Adelaide, Mount Gambier, Warrnambool, Melbourne, you know. And that was, you had to get that gig done, so you had the petrol to get to the next town and sleep in the car.
John, that's an interesting little segue to where I was going to go next, because the media of today pump up the rock and roll industry and the megastars and the money they make and where they live and the fortunes but the reality is that we grew up as youngsters in this privileged environment, wonderful music, you were part of it, but I don't have a sense that you were doing it for fame and fortune. You were just doing it because you loved it, and if you got 3 meals a day and another gig booked up, life was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I do it because I was 72 yesterday, and
happy birthday, John.
Thank you. It's funny because people think, you know, how can you be putting that? Because I've got 2 albums in the can at the moment, and we've just released an EP with Kilo over in the States. And they say, why do you keep doing it? I say, well, it's what I do. I don't know really. I do know how to do other things, but I don't. You know, I choose. I put it this way. This morning I get up, terrible thing. Put my shorts on, make a coffee, sit down at my desk, play my guitar for a couple of hours. That's what I do. You know, like it's. And my wife will come downstairs to my studio and she'll say, "What are you doing?" I said, she said, "You've been here for about 6 hours. You haven't even drank your coffee."
That's good to have that direction first thing in the morning, isn't it?
Well, that's my happy place. That's where I go to. You know, when I'm playing music, I find that place. And the thing there is, if you can transfer that to your audience, it's like radio. You know, like you guys attract people by your magnetism. You know, it's sort of the audience gets off on it. If you're getting off of it, they get off of it, and then that lifts you up to another level. Then you lift them up to another level. Before you know it, you've got this sort of frenetic energy in the room, you know. And I think that's a wonderful thing that I would say a lot in my era. The Australian bands had that kick-ass sort of frenetic energy, you know.
Now, a lot of those bands and artists that you're talking about seem to have had, many of them born in the UK, but many of them then found themselves in South Australia, either in Adelaide proper or out in the suburbs like you were at Elizabeth. What was in the water? I mean, Adelaide water tastes weird anyway. What's in the water that makes Adelaide musicians amazing?
I washed a pair of white Levi's in Adelaide, and they were just little bits. I poured tea all over them. No, see, I don't know what it was, because I think it was the migrants. We all came, and, you know, migrants being migrants, the music scene's still the same today as what it was then. I was talking to a guy yesterday I played with when I was 16, Ronnie Pierce, who was with Starless, and, you know, he's probably the best blues player in the country, bar none, you know, and that's a big statement. You know, guys just love him. Everybody loves him. The thing is that Elizabeth and Adelaide, we had the Twilights, and, you know, there was a band called James Taylor Move, and that was Alan Tarney, Kevin Peake, who went on to be extremely famous, you know, like with John Williamson. They had the Sky thing, you know. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of bands, but the main thing is we used to have little clubs. Tiny little clubs in the middle of the city where you could go and watch Chicago. I started off at 15 doing Chicago blues, you know, Paul Butterfield and stuff like that. So you actually got your teeth into stuff that was current and relevant in America, you know, like, and stuff that they revered, you know, and we got that here because all the migrants were bringing all the albums out, you know, so bring them out here. I will never forget the Twilights. Glenn Shore, I'm still friends with today, and the rest of the boys have all done so well because they went on and wrote songs for Tina Turner, Cliff Richards, you know, like, and talent will always come to the top, you know, it will always raise up above the BS, because this industry runs on bullshit, you know, like, and quite frankly, I don't have anything to do with it. If it starts, I walk away and I go, I look at my watch, I gotta go, guys, see you later, you know, and go back to what I do, because when they carry on like that, it's not real, it's just a facade that people put on in order to be what they think other people want them to be. People want you to be yourself.
And you probably already answered the question where I was going next about that, John. Mark Moffat, we had the privilege of interviewing a few weeks ago. He rated your singing voice as good as any he's heard. Did you ever have a stage in your life where maybe a different direction could have been taken that may have taken you to places in the industry that gave you more popularity, fame and fortune, as opposed to, as you said, being who you really are?
I think AC/DC would have changed my life. I got, you know, well, Mark Opitz, the producer, he was the engineer with AC/DC, and when they were discussing singers, they were discussing me as one of the singers in the studio. So I would say that would have changed my life, but it wouldn't have changed who I am. You know, and I'll put it this way: Angus and Malcolm have been friends since they were in the hostel, and I was friends with Stevie, and George is my mentor. you know, like George Young. The Easy Beats wrote songs back in those days, what we're talking about. They were one of the first ones to go across to London and hit that Australian scene in London, you know, like playing at Hammersmith and, you know, and look who's covered their songs. Bowie, Gary Moore, everybody has done it, you know, like it's a wonderful thing. You know, it's kind of hard to say, because I've been offered lots of gigs, and I don't want to go into them now because it sort of sounds like you're blowing your own trumpet. But the AC/DC one, what I was very proud of, because I love the boys as people. Angus and I are still the same. We lived in the same suburb in Sydney, and I'd meet him up at the shops, and we'd have a coffee. And it sounds crazy when you're just sitting in a coffee lounge with, you know, Angus, and you know, he's just come off a world tour and got #1 album and stuff like that. And we're sitting there, and the kids used to come in from school, and he would walk away. We'd be sitting around the sort of, I guess, flower gardens that they have, you know, on their coffee tables, you know. And the kids come up and say, "Hi, Swanee, Harry, can you sign this?" I say, "Yeah, you know." "You got any more T-shirts?" I say, "Yeah, I'll get you a couple. I'll get you a dozen tomorrow and give them up to the boys." And he said, "Who's that guy that you're with?" And I said, "Oh, you wouldn't believe me if I told you."
And why is he wearing a school uniform at the age of 45?
He had a pair of Amco jeans and an Amco jacket and a pair of Dunlop volleys. No? Hello. He's also Scottish, so
yeah,
he's not going to waste his money on, you know.
There is that. Yeah. Now, John, it's the family are reasonably talented in their musical abilities. You've got a younger brother who does a bit of work in the industry, we understand, and his son is obviously involved in the music industry. His kids are also, you know, we know them as the Tin Lids, but they've gone on to be bigger and better. Where did the musical talent come from? Were Mum and Dad musos?
No. Dad was a boxer. Mum was she looked after 6 kids. She had me when she was 15, so she never had time to be anything. You know? I mean, she had one every year after that. So it was like, she was working in they call it a steam house. It's where those, they're like a thing that you scrub the clothes with, and you put it through a wringer. And they have a copper, a big copper thing. You know, a lot of the people who listen will know what a copper is. You put your clothes in it, and you know, she would be breastfeeding one, and she'd have me on a leash with those little like strap things that go around your shoulders and your chest, and you get on the back of it's got a clip, and you put the leash on, and it stops you from kids from getting too far away.
Yep.
And she'd have 2 kids. You know, she'd be breastfeeding one, and she's still working in this great big factory steam house laundry thing that just was hot water, steam, and pressure, high pressure sounds. I can still vividly hear those things when I close my eyes, because my mum's passed away now. And I have these great memories of every time I hear steam going off or something like that, I can go back to that place and look at it with great pride and pleasure. You know, my mum was still working, even a lot of it. She was, you know, today somebody gets 2 kids and they're 15, you know, they usually, and then no disrespect, because they're living off the government, you know, they never did that thing. It wasn't done in those days, and I don't think the government had that sort of, they would have had some sort of affiliated program, but not necessarily anything that kids could live off. You know, young kids today, I support a lot of young kids today, not support them, but I try and get them interested in life in general, because like I've gone through drugs, alcohol, God knows what, and so I try and go into the jails and places where you can sit down and tell your story, and the only reason they'll let me in, because the guys that run the jails will let me in because they know me personally. So they'll let me in to go and talk to those guys about how I got my life back together after that event, because these kids are coming out of jail and going back to the same place and expecting a different result. You know, like, so it sort of it lends itself to one hand feeds the other. You know, I get the experience, I go through the hell, and I get out of it, and you know, I'm so grateful to be out of it that I want to pass it on so nobody else has to go through to that shithole that I went to, you know.
Now we're talking to John Swan, Australian music legend, and one of many that we've had the privilege of chatting with, and still at the age of 73, working and producing.
72? Jesus.
Sorry, mate.
He's good, isn't he?
Sorry, buddy. I wasn't listening that
I was
well.
listening to 72. Rob's actually in his mid-90s, so he sometimes forgets.
Yeah, give me a break. I forgot that. Anyway, you're still working, and I love that, and you're still working with passion and still being incredibly creative. You've got stuff still to come. What's the expectation that we, as punters, can expect from you?
Well, see, it's various because I'm working with people who now live all around the world. And like Mark's in Nashville, you know. So we do it by the technology of today, where kids are dragging and dropping files in and making hip-hop and stuff like that. We sit and play it and send it over to Nashville. He sends it back in the morning, and it's got the drummer from Counting Crows, or somebody from Bonnie Raitt's band playing on it, and him. You know, you just think, I think, what planet am I on? Because sometimes you think about it, because I love Bonnie Raitt, you know, like all of that stuff. That's my era, you know, like, and the band lives at his place when they're in Nashville, you know, because he's friends with the drummer who was the guy that was in the Ruttles. He played Paul McCartney in the Ruttles.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So they come back off tour. They go to his place. They stay there. And I had just sent them a demo. Not a demo. It was my version of a demo. It was me sitting with an acoustic guitar and a tape player, and I sing and play it. And if it's not good, he tells me, and he does because we're mates, and you know, there's no crap involved in it. So he was listening to it through the big speakers, and this guy came by, Jerry Douglas, who's a slide player, the slide player, I should say, and he said, that's interesting. Who's that? And he said, oh, it's a friend of mine, Swan, he's a Scottish guy from Australia. He said, oh, really? He said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to build up a track for him. He said, well, give it to me. He said, I'll put something on it. And so that's the way they work. You know, they're at the top of their game. Jerry Douglas is the most sought-after slide player in America. He's a hero, a legend. And he likes something, so he'll take it home and he'll play on it. And I said, look, I can't afford this, Mark. I can't afford to get all these guys on there, you know, drummer from Counting Crows and all these other people. And Mark said, they don't want anything. They want you to come over here in Kilo to do a little tour through the belt, that sort of Bible belt. Those universities hold 10,000 people. So you play one university in each town, and you play to the entire population of Australia.
Yeah, because we had a really good chat. We've played Parchment Farm already today. In case people haven't worked it out yet, most of the music we're playing today features bands or artists that you are very, very closely associated with. As you know, we played Ladies What's Your Name. We're going to be going out with one of your solo hits as well when we finish chatting to you. But Mark was effusive, I think is the word, about you and some of the stuff Kilo's doing.
Yeah, well, you know, we don't do it. He has an idea, and I won't hear it for 3 months, and, you know, that means he's got his head down and he's working a day job, you know, he's doing money jobs. But he'll all of a sudden send me an idea. He said, hey, JS, what do you think of this? You know, and I text him back, look, and I say, it's good. Or I'll jump on the mobile and I'll just say, hey, mate, that's great. You know, what do you want to do with it? He said, I'm thinking we should build a track on it and see how it finishes up, you know. And some of them, we've still got, you know, we could have done 2 albums when we released that EP, but it wasn't about that. It was just to put something out there so that other people may enjoy what we enjoyed, because it's just music from our roots, you know, the early Zeppelin days and stuff like that. There's a heavy contingency of that in the music.
Now, we do need to wind up in a few minutes, so it would be remiss of us not to acknowledge you as having been the South Australian Senior of the Year a few years ago, which they don't hand out to anybody. The work that you're doing that was acknowledged by that award is, you've touched on it, but tell us a bit about the work you're doing with marginalised people in South Australia and other places.
What I did was, I'm really grateful for having my life that I've had, so what I do is I go into the park and I see all these people homeless. I'm running around the park trying to get fit. And I acknowledge the fact that they're there, I say, hi, how you doing? And after a couple of days, they say hello. So I went back at night, there was about 16 of them in a huddle, and I sat down and I sat away from them, and I was just sitting playing my guitar and singing. And the guy said, what do you want? I said, nothing. He said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm sitting playing my guitar. What does it look like? And he said, you want to come over here? And I said, yeah, sure. I go over there, and there's like a sort of humpy, it's just covered the windbreak, and it stinks of urine and feces and God knows what else. There's dirty stuff everywhere. And I played away for about an hour, and they were making requests after the first couple of minutes, just checking me out to see if I was real.
Play one we know.
Yeah, and I'd play that, and they go, I love that. And who wrote that? I said, that's mine. I had a hit with that. And they went, oh, yeah, you're Alan Barnes' brother. They know Alan. Alan's a great singer as well. And the fun thing is that I said to them, hey guys, look, I've got an idea. I've got the Salvation Army Hall up there. I've been given permission to use that facility. Would you like to come and have dinner? And they said, what do we got to do? I said, nothing. You just got to turn up and be polite. So they turn up, and not kidding, it was such a shock, because they walked into this place and we had 3 courses of food for them. I used to take what I was earning in the band and put it into getting food for them on a Wednesday and a Saturday night, and sit them down and give them service. And then afterwards we'd do a karaoke. The first time I got up and played, and then they said, that was great, but can we do karaoke? I said, yeah, sure. So I dragged a little PA and set it up. And the first guy that came up, I said, what do you want to sing? He said, thunder. And I went, you got me, son. And anyway, I thought he was shocked, because he's got the long beard, straggly, dirty hair, and his clothes, and the smell of his body was just, and that made me more passionate about him, because he's still getting up there with it, doing an ACDs. Anyway, it started, and he did this thing that I've never seen anybody do. He copied Brian Johnson perfectly.
Wow.
And he's doing all the same dance with the sort of swagger, and pulling down on the cap. And as soon as he finished his song, everybody started clapping, and he disappeared. He went out. So on the Saturday night, he waited till the karaoke was on, and he came in, and he said, can I do a song? I said, yeah, And he did Fooled Around and Fell in Love by Elton Bishop. And I'm sitting there going, where the hell? As soon as he finished his song, he disappeared. They didn't trust anybody. They'd sit with their hands around their plates so that nobody else could steal it. And by the end of the second week, they were coming in and they're sitting chatting with each other afterwards, and they're changing each other's phones and fixing up things. So a lady said, can I have a coffee with you? And I said, yeah. And I went and had a coffee with her at Hyde Park, lovely place. And she said, I'm the dental professor I'm in charge of the faculty over at the University of Adelaide there, and I'd like to see if I can help you with fixing up some of their teeth. And I said, oh, they'd love that. So once a month she would come in, and she'd bring her first, second, third year students, and they would sit there and fix up these people's teeth. And when they started coming in, the young girls would come in, they'd look at the girls and say, because they didn't even have, personal hygiene products, like for ladies. So we fixed that up, and the girls came in. Her girlfriend came with her. She's a hairdresser, so she starts washing their hair and cutting their hair. Before you know it, these people are walking around with their head up.
Well, we were in the middle of a very interesting story. We've got people hanging on their phones everywhere here. John, sorry, I don't know what happened. You need to pay your bill on your phone bill or something.
Next week.
But you've now given me an editing task for this afternoon. Thank you.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah, so you were saying that the hairdressers came in and cut their hair. They were walking around with their heads up, and that's when we lost you.
And they got good teeth. And I went to the guy that owned Peter Shearer's, and they're a sort of clothing company, and they make suits and that. So I got pants, and I started a choir. I had a homeless choir there. Jim was ambassador for the Choir of Hard Knocks, national one.
Mm.
And he said, the guy said, can you help us? And he said, yeah, I'll help you. I'll be ambassador. And then he rang me up and he said, John, can you just... Okay. Because it's great to have him as ambassador because he's a figurehead.
Mm.
And that people will be attracted and help. And they were all homeless people. And the best thing we ever did was I seen them all standing backstage at the Opera House in Sydney waiting to perform, and they were just like us. They were all terrified because before we go on, I still suffer that anxiety and fear and everything else. Even though I've been doing it for so long, it's the love and it's that adrenaline that gets you. And for me, it became anxiety. That's why I used to drink. You know, you take a drink and you knock the edge off it.
Mm.
And watching them with their white shirts and their black pants, and they're all talking to each other, and they're arguing over in the corner about what the words are, you know. And I was watching that, and I thought, this is just like a band room, except the They were excited beyond belief, and for me to be part of that, I mean, I'm saying to you, the hairs on my arms are standing up because in that moment, I suddenly realised that that's what I meant to do. That's what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. The mistake I made was I was putting all my money back into that and not looking after my own stuff. So, 10 years of that, and you get to a point where you can't sustain what you used to have, the big boat on the harbour and the 5 acres in Sydney and all that sort of stuff. And the nice Mercedes. But you know what? I've got great people that I've had the pleasure of trying to help. And that's more important to me than anything except music.
Swanee, it's an extraordinary story, and I reckon if we had gone to a fraternity concert back in whenever it was, late 70s, and said, see that bloke over there, in 30 or 40 or 50 years' time, he is going to be a South Australian Senior of the Year because of the amazing work he does on the streets, I think a few people would have gone, are you crazy?
I actually got an IAM.
Oh, wow. Sorry, we should be bowing at the same time, Your Grace.
No. Hey, I'm not a priest. Hello, little boy.
John Swan, we do need to wind up and let you go and do what you're going to do with the rest of your Saturday morning. What an absolute thrill to make your acquaintance. And we have enjoyed some of your music already this morning. We're going to hear some more very, very soon. Thanks for being part of this show.
Thank you for letting me just have a yak to you. It was great, boys.
Good on you, John. Really appreciate it. Best wishes to you.
Easy, mate. Give my love to the people.
We will. Thanks, John.